Let's talk about money. Okay, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I clicked on this video about budgeting and now this strange woman on the internet is going to tell me that I need to stick to a budget and all the fun's over because I have to be a real adult now and have a budget and never have any fun. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. Budgeting is not about restriction. Budgeting is about deciding what your priorities are and then allowing your money to mirror those priorities. If your priority is going out and getting a $5 latte every day and you have the money for it, by God, you can go out and have a $5 latte every day. I guarantee you that if you watch this video and you use the template that I have provided in the description, that you are going to make your money work for you and you're not gonna have to stress every single time you swipe your card and wonder whether or not you have money in your account. So the first thing in my template that we're gonna look at is the monthly tab. That's what this is here. We have 3 different categories across the top here and a little summary down at the bottom. So your actual budget is underneath this budgeted section, which makes sense, you know? Over here on this side, you're gonna have all of your expenses, all of the categories, whatever you can think of. It may not look exactly like mine. You can change them however you want. All you gotta do, say you don't like music and you don't mooch off your parents' Netflix and you actually have a Netflix subscription. I don't actually know how much Netflix is because I don't pay for Netflix, but say you spend $20 on Netflix every month. Boom. $20 on Netflix. Now, one thing you have to think about before you actually go and create a budget is how much money am I budgeting with? You can go ahead and look at your past 6 to maybe 12 months of income and just do an average of what that would be. So say you take a look at your past 6 months of expenses and you find out the average income for you was around $5,000. So then you can go ahead and you can say $5,000, that's my budget. You need this number right here to equal 5,000. So your total budgeted money, what do you need to equal 5,000? So that's how you can kind of figure out how much you should be budgeting for. Then you're gonna go through and you're gonna look at all of the things that don't change. So my phone doesn't change much month to month, car insurance doesn't really change month to month, rent doesn't change month to month, anything like that, anything that doesn't change month to month. That is gonna be the first thing you're gonna put in your budget. Then the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at the things that you need that vary month to month. So your groceries, your gas, your electric. If you want, you can go back and kind of try to figure out how much you spent in the past on that, or you can give your best guess. I'm gonna tell you right now, with groceries especially, you're probably gonna lowball it. So bump that number up a little bit. So once you've done that, you've looked at all of your fixed expenses, you've put those in there, and then you've looked at the things that you need, not the things that you want, but the things that you need that vary month to month, like groceries, gas, electric, that kind of thing. Then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna look at your goals and your priorities. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, if your priority is going and spending $5 on a latte every single day, awesome. If you have the money for that left over, cool. Put that in your budget. Put lattes as a line item in your budget, and you get to spend that money on that every single day without fear, if you have the money left over. Now, you can also have goals like buying a house, paying off debt, paying off your car, paying off student loans, or saving up for a big ticket item, saving up for a big trip, anything like that. If that's a goal of yours, then you're gonna put that as a line item. Right now, for me, my biggest goal is being out of debt by the end of 2022. So I have a line item here that is loans. I have about $12,000 left of student loan debt, so I need to put in $1,000 every single month to make that goal happen. Now, once you've figured out those big goals and those big priorities, you can go ahead and you can spend money on kind of some other things. This is where you get to have a little fun. You can put some money towards eating out or anything along those lines that's gonna make you happy. Whatever money you have left over, you get to tell it where to go. So once you've maxed out that amount of money, if you find out that you don't have enough money to reach your goals or to indulge in those priorities that you have, then you need to figure out a way to either cut some expenses there or make some more money. That's something we can talk about in another video. For now, just get that number to equal whatever your income is, whatever that average income is. So once you've worked all that out, it's the beginning of a new month and you are ready with your new budget. And you have two options. You can let it sit in cyberspace and forget about it and never use it and it does you no good. Or you can go ahead and track your expenses, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that right now. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and type in every expense that comes up. So what I like to do is every week I go into my bank account, I split screen my computer here, so I have this template on one side and I have my bank account on the other side, and I type in every single expense that came through that week. So say I got my phone bill, came in, she was 50 bucks. It was the 1st of January when that happened. Boom. That shows up as what I actually spent. So anything that you type over here, as long as it perfectly matches the item. Now see here, if I spell phone wrong because I'm dumb, it won't propagate over there. So you have to perfectly match it. So that's the only caveat here. Don't spell things wrong. I spell groceries wrong all the time because I can't spell. I digress. Every single item that comes in, you're gonna type it in right there and it'll auto-propagate over here. And over here, this shows you the difference. So my husband and I both have separate phone bills that come in. So one usually comes in and it's around $50. And then the other one will come in, but you can see here, the first one came in, we have $50 left in that budget. It would be the same thing with gas, groceries, whatever it is. It'll just fill in there and then you can see how much you have left as you go. Next section is the income section. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you make money, if you get a paycheck, if you get a tax return, if whatever you get, I even put birthdays and Christmas kind of money in here. Whatever money you make, you're gonna put in there, and then that's gonna give you a good idea of what your income is month to month. So just stick your income in there. That one's not hard. All you need to do is say, I got a check, it was $1,000 on this date. And then you can put any kind of notes you want. The last section in these monthly tabs is gonna be the summary section, which basically is just gonna be a really good way where you can track your net wealth. I'm gonna talk about net wealth in just a little bit, but let me go ahead and summarize the summary. Over here, you're gonna have your positive accounts. So that's gonna be savings, checkings, investing, whatever you have that is like liquid money, you're gonna put this in here. You don't have to track your investment accounts, but if I was tracking some net wealth and I actually had investment accounts because I had started investing like an intelligent person, I would put that there. But we're not there yet, so I got some time. That's where you're gonna put all of your positive accounts. If you don't have any negative accounts, if you don't have any debt, if you don't owe anyone money, if you were not cursed with student loans, not cursed, I signed paperwork, but God, why did I sign that paperwork? I don't know. If you don't have any negative accounts, no debts, you don't owe anyone money, you can just completely ignore this loan balance, or you can change it into a positive account like saving for a house or whatever. But if you have any debt, you're gonna go ahead and put that balance in there. So say you have $10,000 in debt, put $10,000 at the beginning of the month. Then at the beginning of the new month, you're gonna come in here and fill this out. Once you type something in here, it will show up in the next month, so you don't have to worry about doing it twice. So that's pretty much the summary section. You can see your total net wealth down here, so that's gonna add all of your positive accounts up and then subtract your negative accounts. You can always add more negative accounts if you have different debts to track or whatever. You can always add more positive accounts, just as long as you're adding up the positive ones and then subtracting the negative ones from that. That summarizes the summary and the entire monthly sheet. Now we're gonna go over here to the master summary sheet, which you don't have to type anything in. If you do this month to month, all of this is going to autofill, and it's going to show you this beautiful graph over here on the side that's going to show you your net wealth hopefully going up. So we'll just go through these really quick here. This is going to be your total spent for the month. So that is what you actually spent when you went in and you tracked all of your expenses. That's going to pull up a number for that month. The income, obviously, that's all of the money that you made in the month. Loans is going to be how much you put into loans. If you have another goal that you're working towards, if you have something else that you want to track there, like saving for a house, you can put house savings there, and then keep track of how much you put towards that goal every single month. If you don't have any big goals like that, you can completely delete that category. I don't really care. Won't hurt me at all. Other spent is going to be anything else that you spent outside of that loans. I just like to see a breakdown of, I have my total spent, but that includes all of my money that I'm putting towards loans. The other spent is going to be anything outside of that. So it's kind of nice to see that because it kind of varies month to month a little more. So I can see, woo, I spent way too much money in January, or I spent no money in February, whatever. I can just kind of see those trends, which is nice. Loan balance is going to be your loan balance at the beginning of that month, so you can keep track of that. Again, if you're saving for something, you can put the total balance of that account in there. Your total wealth is going to be the addition of all of those positive accounts that you have in your summary pages. So you can see here I have my total wealth at 7,000, and that is an addition of this $5,000 account, this $1,000 account, and this $1,000 account. That is not your net wealth. Your net wealth is your positive money, your positive, in this case, liquid assets. So all of the money that you have sitting in accounts somewhere, minus your debt. So say you have $5,000 in accounts and you have $10,000 in debt. Your net wealth is going to be negative 5,000, and we don't want it to be negative. The goal is to continue building that net wealth up to the point where it's at least positive, but the bigger the better. We like big net wealth. Now, obviously, once you buy a house, or you can even consider your cars in your net wealth, but this is just a look at your liquid net wealth. So that is going to be here in this category, which I can go ahead and put, we'll say we have $5,000. $5,000 was our loan balance. We had $7,000 in accounts. That means our net wealth is positive 2,000. Now we could also have a negative net wealth. Say we have a loan balance of $10,000. Then our net wealth would be negative 3,000. So you can just see this pulls from all of those summary pages. As long as you're putting all of your input into those summary pages month to month, you're gonna see hopefully this trend line go up. And that is kind of a summary of the template. Now, just some last thoughts on budgeting. Budgeting for unexpected expenses can be a little bit tricky sometimes, but here are 3 ways that I kind of like to do that. You can have a miscellaneous line item in your budget. If you paid attention to mine, I did actually have a miscellaneous section in there. I like to use that for just really small things that come up. I usually don't have more than like $200, maybe $300 budgeted in there. Like if I have some extra in a month, I'll stick that in the miscellaneous just for whatever comes up. That can be nice for those small things that come up. You can also have a sinking fund. This is for kind of out of the ordinary expenses that come up. A sinking fund is basically just a separate account where you put money and save it for something that you're kind of thinking might happen in the future, or you definitely know is going to happen in the future. So things like surgeries, or maybe you have a really crappy car, so you have a crappy car sinking fund for all of those expenses that come from a crappy car. Been there, done that. And then the last thing is having an emergency fund. This is actually a really good goal. If you don't have an emergency fund, I would highly recommend making one of your first priorities with your money, making that emergency fund happen, because an emergency fund, if a car breaks down or there's a medical emergency or something out of the blue happens, then you can pull from that emergency fund, and then you don't have to go deeper into debt or back into debt in order to fund that emergency. So a good rule of thumb is having 3 to 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund. If you are kind of working really hard towards a goal of like saving up for a house or getting out of debt or something like that, it's okay to have a little bit less, but ultimately in a long-term situation, you do want kind of that 3 to 6 months saved up. And that's really all I had today, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you check the link in the description for this template. Please use this template. If you use it, comment down below, see how you like it. If you have any problems with it, I'm not an Excel master. I really like Excel, but I'm not like perfect or anything. So maybe there's something that doesn't make sense or there's a formula that's not working right. Comment down below and let me know. I will fix it. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're interested in seeing some more videos on how to live your best life as a confused 20-something.